The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons. On today's show, we'll be talking about the end of the open enrollment period for Medicare. We have about a week left. Have you evaluated your plan? Have you not? If you haven't, what are some of the resources that are available to you to help you decide which plan might best meet your needs? We've got a lot of great information, so stay tuned.
A decade of Montana fourth graders on Energy Share. Not having enough heat in the winter can feel like you're at the mercy of the elements. Energy Share will help keep your family safe and warm even in the coldest weather. Montanans are always ready to lend a hand for our neighbors. No one deserves to be cold in the winter. Like Kaylin Perkins says, Energy Share is like love filling the air. Energy Share is not a government program. It's neighbors helping neighbors who face energy emergencies the Montana way. Call or visit our website today. No fear, Energy Share is here.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare Summary Notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Here in Montana, we love our outdoor activities. Unfortunately, few of them are risk-free. Indeed, Montana is second in the nation per capita in head injuries that can destroy the lives of people we love. That's why you should insist your family always wear protective helmets. But you can do even more. When you fill out your vehicle registration this year, circle the Y and donate $1 to support traumatic brain injury prevention and education. Now that's using the old noggin.
Providing long-term care for someone in need is a labor of love, but it is a labor. Time apart is healthy and necessary both for the caregiver and the person receiving care. It allows each a respite, time to relax and recharge. If you're a long-term caregiver, visit the new Lifespan Respite website. Financial assistance may be available. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
Welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Brian Lamore. In the opening I mentioned, we're talking about the end of open enrollment for Medicare. And that's pretty important if you're a Medicare recipient. And if you haven't done anything, maybe you or your family member or some of your professionals behind you could make the decisions or help you to make proper decisions. Joining us today is Kimmy Everman. You're a social media and outreach expert for Department of Public Health and Human Services. Welcome back to your show. I always like to make sure
that just means I like to talk and hear my own voice, but go, yeah.
That's great. Well, December 7th is coming up. That's the end of the open enrollment period.
Yep.
And the question is, has the viewer done anything yet?
Yeah.
Why is that important?
Well, first of all, let's be real clear that when we talk about the open enrollment period that ends the 7th of December, this is an annual event. Mm-hmm. So if you're a person who's been on Medicare for a little while anyway, you've gone through this a couple of times maybe. Yeah. And every year you get an annual decision-making time to change whatever about your Medicare plan that you might feel would work better in a, coming from a different source or whatever. So that's what's really coming up. And Brian, it's so important that we even though it's hard and it is confusing and it can be frustrating to look at the different models of Medicare that are available, but it's so important that you choose what works the best for you, because you're going to have that plan for the most part for a whole year. And you want to make sure that if there are, especially if you have sort of specialty meds or anything like that that are that might be something anything more difficult or more expensive to get a hold of, this is the time when you want to make sure you're looking at the drug plans, you're looking at the Medicare Advantage plans, and you're saying to yourself, okay, what works and what doesn't, and then go with that.
Yeah, so I'll generalize, like the Medicare A and B are pretty static, aren't they? They're changed at the federal level. What are the options that you have beyond the A and B that you can choose or not choose? You don't have to make choices.
Well, you know, the A and B, we talk about those ABCs of Medicare here a lot. And the A and the B are, you know, I guess they're the least often changed. As you said, they're a little static. And one is, the A is your hospitalization, and the B is your outpatient. And everybody gets a package. Anybody who's a Medicare beneficiary gets what I would consider a package with all the different benefits that come within A and B. And that doesn't make any difference whether you're on a Medicare Advantage plan or you're on traditional Medicare. You are a Medicare Advantage or a Medicare beneficiary, and you get all the benefits that the CMS or Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services allow. Then you could get, so you have the A and B, which is kind of over here, and then over here we have what's called Part D, and that's the drug coverage that we get with our Medicare, and that's again very, very important as we age. You know, I am always amazed at how many medications I'm on. And as we age, there's more and more. So you want to make sure that you're buying a plan that's the best coverage for your medications. And remember, even if you get a new medication during the year sometime, that Part D plan will cover something in that medical class. So they have to cover every medication, not every single medication, but in every class. And then finally the C, which is the conglomeration of all the A, the B, and the D. And that's the Medicare Advantage plan or Medicare Health plan. And that comes with everything that we've just talked about. A few people might get it without perhaps drug coverage, but that might be because they are a veteran and they have drug coverage through that system and don't need another. And again, that could be a tribal issue as well. You might be a tribal member and have drug coverage and feel you don't need another. But this is the time to empower yourself, to make the decisions yourself, to make those decisions that are going to be the most impactful on your life.
And right now we're coming down to the deadline, but we have some resources, 1-800-MEDICARE and Medicare.gov. How can they help our viewers make informed decisions?
Well, you know, there's a lot of really great trained folks that man those, the website and the toll-free number. At this point, even though we have super SHIP counselors in the state of Montana, they're probably pretty booked up. So you're going to have to go to one of the other resources, but they're good too. And you know, the great thing about the 1-800-MEDICARE is that's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. If you're up at midnight and you don't have anything else to do, you can talk to somebody at Medicare about your new drug plan if that's what you'd like to do.
Okay, and some of the things for our viewers, you know, if you're talking about a drug plan, they're going to want to know what drugs you're on. So if you have those pill bottles available, I mean, we can't pronounce those things, but they understand what they are, and they can help evaluate what is going on with your life. But they also have resources to the different plans that might be able to assist you. Now, it's important to know that they don't have anything to sell to you. They're very independent, and they don't make the decision for you. That is up to you. They give you the information and the resources. And if this is a little bit confusing, maybe one of your children, a good friend, maybe someone who's in the health profession can help you out. And they're happy to work with them too. So stay tuned, we got a lot more great information.
was outside working on some equipment, nothing too strenuous. I started sweating and feeling out of breath.
When he felt pressure in his chest and aching in his arms, I knew we had to call 911.
First responders were there before we knew it. 38 minutes later, the doctors had restored the blood flow to my heart.
Now we know dialing 911 saved his life.
Your life is on the line.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
I take care of my wife at home. When I found out training was available, I said, sign me up. It's made a huge difference.
When my husband was injured at work, it was life-altering. The class has taught me that it's okay to grieve, to ask for help, and to better cope as a caregiver.
My dad lives 4 hours away, and the Powerful Tools class has taught me that it's okay to ask for help. I highly recommend them.
To find out about this course for caregivers, go to powerfultoolsforcaregivers.org.
It's amazing the difference a little training can make.
Out here, we love our animals, from the wildlife to the livestock. Inside, it's the same. They're just like family. We keep them happy and healthy, most of the time. Secondhand smoke puts pets at risk for cancer, feline lymphoma, vomiting, increases the risk of tumors and lung cancer, even causes eye and skin disease. Secondhand smoke puts your pet's life at risk.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host Brian Lamore, and we're going to continue in our discussion about Medicare. The end of open enrollment period is coming up December 7th, which is about a week away. So we do have some time to reevaluate our plans and make any changes to them that we want. Now, Kimmy, the end of the year comes along and we've made a choice on Medicare Advantage plans. What should we be expecting from our plan? They should be sending us something, right?
Well, yeah, especially if you are going with a company you haven't gone with before. Mm-hmm. They may send you, the book, the sort of manual that tells all about their program and the benefits. They may send you a little card that identifies you as being a member of that Medicare Advantage group. I would basically, I guess one of the things that it's sort of hard to guess anymore is because we have electronic and we also have the snail mail, avenues to get people information, and more they're sending you things on your email without maybe sending you in a hard copy form.
Right.
So that might be something you want to ask, because that's certainly important to some people. Where will I find the information that I need when I need it?
Yeah.
And hopefully they have a good website, and you have you have the capability to technically look up some things quickly at your fingertips. But that's not everyone.
Yeah, right.
And nor should we expect everyone to have those skills.
Right.
So it's really quite important, I think, that if you have a preference, if you want hard copy information, be sure you say that to whoever you sign up with.
And let them know.
Yeah.
I know when I was evaluating my plan last year, I had questions in which they weren't really answered from the different Part C or Medicare Advantage plans. But once you get into it, then, okay, here's what we actually do and cover it. So you need to review that. But now, are you locked in permanently with this Advantage? I mean, December 7th, the end point. January 1st is the new medical year. What are some of our options if it's not right?
One of the really nice sort of newer enrollment periods is from January 1st through March 31st. If you're in a Medicare Advantage plan and you'd like to switch to a different one, Maybe you've just decided this is not the one for me, but I still like the Medicare Advantage.
Yeah.
You can switch to another one during that time frame, that 3-month time frame, and not be penalized, etc. You can also at that time, if you prefer, you can leave the Medicare Advantage plan that you're in and go back to using just the standard or straightforward, what we would call the medical or Medicare traditional model, where you have A, B, and probably D, so the drug coverage. But so that's an important piece of the year. And then I think also just always want to remind folks of the IEP, which is the initial enrollment period. And that's when you're turning 65 and you're getting on to Medicare. You have that initial time frame of 3 months before your 65th birthday month, and then the month of your birthday, and then 3 months after to get yourself squared away. Remember that, and we've talked about this bunches of times, lots of folks are still working beyond Medicare age, and they may not need to sign up for a full plate of Medicare just yet. But that doesn't mean you do nothing. You talk to your human resources at your company, you find out what you need to sign up for, because most companies will want you to have a combination of both once you turn 65, even if you're being fully covered by them under their employer insurance. So very important to find that out.
Yeah, and I think basically what it comes down to is if your employer needs to provide you a plan equal to or greater to Medicare for you not to be on Medicare.
That's right.
And it seems a little complicated, but if you were to call our 1-800 number, talk to our SHIP counselors, they will help you out. Now, you want to sign up in that time period, 3 months before, 3 months after your birthday, and the month of, because there's some penalties, right?
Well, yeah, and you don't want that to happen, because once you have walked into the land of penalties, those pretty much stick with you for the remainder of the time that you're on Medicare, and you don't, you want to avoid that if at all possible. Things cost enough as it is. Without, and that's such a great time. Even if the reason that you're putting it off is because it's just so overwhelming, call up a SHIP counselor. They're somebody that's in your neighborhood, in your community, know so much about Medicare and all the different ways that we need to, move forward to get it in place. And they're just wonderful, wonderful men and women who can help really get you through what can be a confusing puzzle.
Really, and Medicare is really a great healthcare plan.
We love it.
Yeah.
But you need some assistance sometimes.
Sometimes you need it, but sign up. You don't wait until you need it. Do it well ahead. Now, we just spoke about a special enrollment period from January to March 31st. If you choose a Medicare Part C or Advantage plan, they're the same thing. And it's not meeting your needs, you have until March 31st to reevaluate to another Medicare Advantage Part C plan, or to go back to straight Medicare. And possibly during that time period, your health might have worsened. You might want a better plan. So it's not that you're going to switch to a lesser. Now, we've got a lot of great information. We've helping programs which will help you pay your Medicare premium, so stay tuned.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, Call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Can you say ombudsman?
Ombudsman. Benson?
Boobison? Fortunately, you don't have to say it right to get the help of a long-term care ombudsman. If you or a loved one reside in assisted living or long-term care, an ombudsman can help resolve any issue. And these services are completely free and confidential. Now, why don't you try that again?
Ombudsman.
I was angry and upset when the doctor told me I have diabetes. I just didn't want to deal with it, the needles and the diet restrictions. But after I started to learn about it, those feelings changed. I was at risk for a heart attack caused by high blood sugar. That got my attention. I started watching my diet and making sure I got enough exercise every day. I want to be around for my grandkids, and now that I know what to do, it seems like a small price to pay.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and continue our discussion about Medicare Advantage and Part C plans. You have up until December 7th to decide if the plan you're on is meeting your needs or not meeting your needs, and to choose another one. Or if you do nothing, you'll stay with the current plan that you have, most likely. But there's also another enrollment period from January to March 31st where you can evaluate that Medicare Advantage or Part C plan and see if it's meeting your needs, and you're allowed to switch to another Part C Medicare Advantage or go back to straight Medicare. But now, Kimmy, there's also something out there called helping programs, and it helps individuals pay their Medicare premiums. What
Absolutely.
are they?
Well, you know, Brian, I always like to start this conversation with a real resounding, this is a hand up, not a handout.
Right.
And this is these are programs that exist because folks, when they get to those sort of later fixed income years, they've worked many years and paid into these systems. And so these are the kinds of hand-ups that I think we can give that are give out that are pretty important to folks. The first one I would want to talk about is called LIS. It's also known as the Low Income Subsidy, and it specifically targets assistance for Part D. With Medicare.
The drug plan.
Yes, so you must have a drug plan with Medicare, and the low income subsidy is a program that will help either cut down your monthly premium, perhaps, set you up on a lower priced medication schedule so that some of the meds that you take may be less at the pharmacy counter than you might expect them to be. And it's because the low income subsidy sort of fills in some of the holes. One other great thing about the low income subsidy program is that it's on a bunch of different levels, 25, 50, 75. You can apply and get the whole shebang or just part. And that means, to me, that's good news, because there's so often times when people feel like, geez, I never I make $1 too much and I can never get any assistance. So this is a way to help folks, meet them where they live, and help them that way. We also have what's called the MSP, or the Medicare Savings Program. The Medicare Savings Program is specifically for Part B of your Medicare, which you remember is your outpatient coverage. And what MSP will do is help pay for, I'm sorry, I don't know what the 2023 Part B premium will be, but it helps, the MSP helps pay for that premium, either in full or, almost. And oftentimes we'll even help again with with co-pays and things like that you might have at the doctor's office that aren't always expected.
Yeah.
So that's a very important plan. Then we also, benefit. And then we also have the Big Sky RX program, and that's just I love it. Montana grown. It's a program that helps pay for the premium each month of your Medicare Part D plan. Doesn't pay any other types of costs associated with that, but who cares?
Yeah,
That's great. And you know, the Big Sky RX, one of the things we love so much about that is that it'll cover your premium up to a certain level annually, and it really, we hear sometimes from folks quite often who say, I don't even take medication.
Yeah.
Why do I need to sign up for something and then pay for it besides?
Yeah.
The Big Sky RX is the answer to that, because if you for one thing, the eligibility criteria is more generous than some other programs might be. It doesn't care if you have a house, a car, a boat, a cabin. It doesn't matter. They look at your income only. And having that kind of a benefit in the situation that I talked about, where you're not taking any or few meds, that's a lovely way to have that taken care of. Have it so you don't get a penalty if you don't have that plan in place, and someone else helps make that payment.
Make that payment for you. Now, is there, like we were talking about December 7th, you have to sign up for Medicare if you're changing your plans. Is there a deadline for these helping programs?
You know what, the helping plans, that's another great thing about them, is that if you're not already on one, or you find your life circumstances have changed and now you would be eligible, you can call up a SHIP counselor and sign up pretty much anytime.
At any time. And I think what's important about SHIP counselors is there's a lot of other programs that are available out there for seniors, offered through our area agencies on aging throughout the state, and they know the eligibility. I mean, some of this eligibility stuff seems a little complicated.
It is, and you know what's so nice about the SHIP counselors is that you get hooked into a system that has very, very highly trained and very empathetic people, compassionate people who want to find the best of what's out there for you, that you're, we want you to be able to stay in your home as long as you want to be able to stay in your home.
And you can. Well, Kimmy, thank you for all this great information. Sure. It's wonderful. And for our viewers, a quick recap, December 7th is the end of the open enrollment period for Medicare to choose a Medicare Part C or which is an Advantage plan, or Part D. So you need to make a decision by then. Unless you don't make a decision, you will stay with your former plan. But coming up January through March 31st, if you have an Advantage plan, you can reevaluate it and possibly change to another. For Aging Horizons, I'm Brian Lamore. Thank you for joining us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.